Hello students, welcome to Divya's English Realm. In today's video, you are going to read Unit 3, Section 3, Refugee Blues, written by W H Auden. W H Auden was born in the year 1907 and he was an English-American poet, playwright, critic and lyricist, and his poetry mainly dealt with the themes of politics and religion. And this poem, Refugee Blues, it talks about the plight, the traumas of the German Jewish refugees during the Second World War. So let's begin the poem. So here it speaks about the plight of the German Jewish. Who are the German Jewish? The Jewish people living in Germany. Okay, so the Jewish people, they were being persecuted a lot by the Nazi Germans. So let's begin. So German Jewish, they have to flee from Germany and they have to move to live like refugees in other countries like UK, America, Shanghai, Switzerland. Yeah, and so when the refugees they move to another country, what are their experiences that we are going to read in this poem? So refugee, they are those who flee to another country, you can say, or those who move to another country just for the reason that they are mistreated in the country or due to the policy, you can say the policies that is against them, or just to escape war. So they take shelter in another country. And blues, it's a slow, sad song which was first sung by the African Americans, those who were working as slaves in United States of America. Right? And informally, blues also mean sad experiences, a sad feeling. So let's start. Say this city has 10 million souls. Some are living in mansions, some are living in holes. Yet there's no place for us, my dear, yet there's no place for us. So in this first stanza, we see that what one German Jews is talking to another German Jewish. What it says, just let's assume that this city, the city in which they are, it has 10 million people. Souls here means the people. And some are living in big mansions. Mansions are very large houses, impressive houses. And some are living in holes. Holes here it means slum areas. And it says that yet, in spite of all this, there is no place for us. My dear, there is no place for us. There is no place for the German Jews. Everybody has a place to take shelter, but they don't have, just for the reason that they are German Jewish. Now he says, now, once we had a country and we thought it fair. Look in the atlas and you will find it there. We cannot go there now, my dear. We cannot go there now. Now, the speaker, he talks to another German Jews, another refugee, and says, a time was there then we also had a country. No? And we thought everything was fine. Everything was well. And in the atlas also you can find that country. No, you can find the name of that country there. But we cannot go there anymore. We cannot go there now. It is really very sad that a time was there when they had their own, isn't it? a country whom they can call their own, but now that is not theirs. In the village churchyard there grows an old yew. Every spring it blossoms anew. Old passports can't do that, my dear, old passports can't do that. Now here he recalls. The speaker, he remembers the village churchyard. And in the village churchyard, there was an old yew tree. Now, what is an yew tree, children? A coniferous tree which has red berry-like fruits. He says every spring it produces beautiful flowers, new flowers. But our passports are old now and it cannot be renewed. He says it cannot be renewed. Old passports can't do that. See, in the nature, the things undergoes changes, but here the passport, a materialistic thing, can't. You see, when we move to another country, children, passport is very important. Now, if it expires, then you have to move back. How you will reach your own country then? So you cannot live there, you cannot continue to live there. And so he feels the German Jewish feel very bad about it. They say, how now we can't live in this country anymore, where they have taken shelter. The consul banged the table and said, if you have got no passport, you are officially dead. But we are still alive, my dear, but we are still alive. Now the speaker says that they might have moved to the consul, isn't it? Who is the consul, children? A government official representing their country in a foreign country. When they moved there to renew their passport maybe. And so what the consul said, that your passport, it cannot be renewed. And if you don't have a passport, you are officially dead. You don't exist. And if you are officially dead, then none of your needs will be fulfilled. You will not get the facility of anything. And so he says here, but he says to the another fellow, we are still alive. He says that we are officially dead, but we are still alive. No? Still we exist. So just to imagine, just a piece of document, how much it becomes evident to prove that we are alive. No? Now let's see further. Went to a committee. They offered me a chair. Asked me politely to return next year. But where shall we go today, my dear? But where shall we go today? After meeting the consul and not getting any positive answer, they moved to the committee, so that he could get some. They're here, at least those people, they didn't turn him back. They offered him chair, and they told him that they won't be able to help him to get any job or to do anything with the passport. They told him very, very politely that you should come next year. We will be able to do next year. Means the people are there to help, but they couldn't now. But he says that he needs immediate help, isn't it? He needs a job. He needs shelter. But those people, they told that to come next year. But where shall we go today? At present, their needs are not met. He says, where shall we go today? Came to the public meeting. Now, this speaker, he came across a public meeting. Usually in a country, who holds public meeting, children? Politicians and all, isn't it? Talking on big agendas and doing nothing to the country. So here came to a public meeting, and there the speaker got up and said, so now see, remember children, these all are going on in another country, okay? They are refugees here. This is not their country. No? And so here he says, in the public meeting, the speaker, what he said, if we let them in, they will steal our daily bread. He was talking of you and me, my dear. He was talking of you and me. Here, he says, even the speaker here, what he's telling to the people, that if the refugees, they continue to live in their country, then they will take away their jobs, they will take away their food. So they should be sent back to some other country, or they should not be accepted anymore. And so he says that here them means, whom to it is referring to here, children? The German Jewish. Imagine you are passing by such a public meeting and somebody is speaking about you that they don't want you. Now you are a threat to them. How you will feel, children? Imagine. The refugees, they have a threat to their life in their own country. Now, and they have fled to another country, and there also the people are not accepting them. How sad, isn't it? The feeling of loneliness, the feeling of not being wanted makes anybody very sad, isn't it? Now the speaker, he saw a puddle in a jacket fastened with a pin, saw a door open and a cat let in. But they weren't German Jews, my dear, but they weren't German Jews. Now the speaker says that he saw a poodle. Now what is a poodle, children? It is a dog breed with curly coat that is often ornamentally clipped, which was fastened with a pin. Fastened with a pin means how much it means to the owner. And he saw a door which was open and a cat was allowed to get in the house. But here the speaker says that they weren't German Jews, and that's why they were being allowed in their house. They are so much taken care. Just to see the irony, children, that the speaker, the German Jews, he is comparing himself to the animals, and he says that the animals' situation is far more better than the German Jews, and just because he is a refugee, or the German Jews are refugees, they are not welcomed in this country. The animals, he compares his life with theirs. Theirs was better, well taken care of, welcomed. They had the safety, a shelter, but German Jews didn't have. Went down the harbor and stood upon the quay, saw the fish swimming as if they were free. Only 10 feet away, my dear, only 10 feet away. Now the speaker, he moves down to the harbor and he stands on the platform, where the boats come in to load. He stood upon the quay, and what he sees from there, that the fish, they were swimming freely in the water. And what was the distance between the two, the speaker and the fish, were only 10 feet away. And just see the difference. Freely swimming, no worries. And here just on the other side, if you see on the key. This speaker with all the worries, with no acceptance. No, how sad, how lonely one feels, children. Walked through a wood. Wood means a forest. Saw the birds in the trees. The birds also have shelter. They had no politicians and sang at their ease. Here he speaks that no, there is no politics there. There are no politicians to mislead, and so they can live freely, they can sing freely. So, to much extent here, the speaker, he says the ruin of any country is because of certain and some politicians. No? Those who keep themselves first. So here says they do not have, the birds, they do not have any politicians, and so they sing freely. They are at ease. They weren't the human race, my dear, they weren't the human race. And the reason is because they didn't belong to human race, they are birds. No? What happens with human race? A certain race thinks we are better than the other. You know, human race, they speak about this superiority. In our own country, one of the race, they thought that they were far more better than the rest of the race. And so then comes inequality, there comes intolerance and all. These things never happen with the creatures of nature, just like the birds or the fish, or no. But this thing happens with human. Dreamed I saw a building with 1,000 floors, 1,000 windows and 1,000 doors. Now here the speaker says that even in his dream he saw a building with 1,000 floors. Such a building we call like skyscrapers. No? 1,000 floors. And 1,000 windows, 1,000 doors. But he says, not one of them was ours, my dear. Not one of them was ours. Even in his dream, the speaker says that he was isolated. Even in his dream, he couldn't find a secure place to live just because he was a German Jew. Now we have come to the last stanza. Stood on a great plain in the falling snow. 10,000 soldiers marched to and fro, looking for you and me, my dear, looking for you and me. Now the speaker, he stood on a great plain. So a great plain, it also speaks about the expanse and falling snow. It could have another meaning also, like, snow means coldness. And so many soldiers are marching to and fro here, and the reason they are looking for the German Jews whose passports have been, expired, and so they are in a way illegally living in that place, and so they are looking for them to catch them and to kill them or to send them back. So they are imagine how sad it is, so that it torments anybody who thinks about now. It's so unimaginable, the pain of, you can say, the plight of the refugees. So I think the refugees in any part of the world, they will have the same agony. They will have the same plight. No? Non-acceptance, refusal. Not a single house to be called like their own. No hope, no job, no asset, no property. It's very, very sad. So through this poem we come to know, children, that war is never acceptable. It is never fruitful. Yeah. So I hope you also felt the same pain of a refugee.